Hey everyone, welcome back to Rhythm Railroad. This is part 5 of my intermodal yard project. So since the last video, I've done quite a bit, and I wanted to just share with you what I've done. So starting with the actual, concrete platforms and roads and things like that. So what I did was, after I fixed the thing with the gaps, which I explained in my last video, I repainted everything, and I went back and kind of like made it look a little bit more worn and weathered. But then I was also able to get all the roads filled in, including this one, which was the one that was last on my list. And as you can see now, it's much wider, and the truck doesn't look like it's being crammed through there, or it doesn't look too forced. So it looks a little bit more realistic. So I'm happy with that. I'm glad I brought it out. As far as the distance between the rail here and the wall, I'm just going to make it, a real thin wall, either just using plaster or using some kind of like a paper type wall, or I'll probably carve it, because the paper sometimes gets a little sheen to it, a little shine, and you can see it when you change camera angles. So anyways, that's the way it's going to stay for now, unless I think of something else. But the next thing I did is I ballasted the main line back here, the main line, all the way through. So now I don't have to worry about that anymore. Like I said, I've been working from the back, or trying to get the back done, so that when I'm working here, I don't have to be leaning on top of the completed work. This is already pretty much done. The only thing I'm going to do is add trees back there. But what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to have a strip of pink foam that I'll dress and put the trees in prior to installing it. So it'll be something like this, but foam, obviously. And I'll do all the plaster work and all the ground cover on it, put the trees in, and then just kind of slide it in to there. There's plenty of room. There's about, I would say 3 inches, maybe a little less, but it's enough to slip in a little piece in there and have the trees just kind of popping out. It's not going to be like completely covered with trees, but just enough to kind of blend into what you see back there. So that's done. What else did I do? So I painted the retaining wall here, or the supporting platform for the main line. So that's looking a little bit more like concrete. I will go back and create, expansion joints, and I'm going to weather it, obviously. And then I also plastered and painted the portal part, like the tunnel opening, so that, I can kind of see the full picture here. I put plaster on this piece of masonite board, which is going to be the road. This slips out. I can just pull it out. I'm going to paint it, but I did paint the inside of the tunnel walls as well. So, again, I'm just trying to kind of get things done from the back. And by the way, in the back, this was kind of big. I kind of finished the main core of the overpass here, the road. And as you can see, I added the yellow line on the road. I painted the pavement a different color than the bridge, because before everything was the same color. And then I also added the Jersey barriers in the middle there. I had them kind of plopped in place, but what ended up happening is that I weathered them too heavily, and it looked a little dumb. It looked, I was driving around this past weekend, and I saw some of that stuff in my neighborhood, and it looks like it's typically the same color all the way throughout, with a little weathering, but it's more like that than, all scattered. So I took, I took the barriers, and I basically just lined them up and hit them with the same sand color, or whatever it is, concrete color from Rust-Oleum. And then I hit them with a very, very light gray, just to kind of show different shades of color. But that was it. And that came out pretty good. But the thing that I'm really excited about is that I added on the bottom that drainage pipe right there. I got that idea from Boomer Diorama. I always try to take his ideas because they're so good. So Boomer, if you're watching, I know it's not as good as yours, but it's a close, imitation of what you're doing. So basically, the pipes were made from old sprue that I had from old kits. I just kind of found some angled plastic parts, and figured out how long they should be. I cut them to size, and I just kind of plopped them on there. Well, I painted it first, and then I plopped it on there. I also found a pipe kit that I had from like an old refinery kit or something, and there were some like joints that you can, like in between. So I put one right in the middle there, and it just kind of gives a sense of like a connection point from the pipe. It makes it look like there's separate pieces. So I'm really glad with how that came out. I also added a bottom piece of styrene to the support beam. And that little lip creates a lot more realism, because it looks more like a beam now instead of just like a piece of concrete. And I've seen both. I've seen concrete supports that don't have that lip, and I've seen some that do. But typically it's metal or whatever, steel that's painted or covered in a concrete kind of shell. At least that's what I think it is. But anyways, so that's pretty much, the base or the core of what that's going to look like. I am going to add lampposts. So I'm going to add like little platforms on the outside, and little lampposts that are going to go out from either side. And I think that'll add more, texture to the whole scene. I don't want to go crazy, but maybe like 2 here or 3, maybe just 1 in the back there. Like, I'll pair them basically. So that it looks more like a real scene. And this, I'm still kind of debating what I'm going to do, because since it's going over the tunnel here, I want to make sure that it's not too low, because then it's, I don't know if that would really happen, where there's like a huge building on top of this little, tunnel, and there's a hole. So I don't know, I might build this up a little bit like a hill and put the building up a little higher. And so just fill all this up with like, dirt and stuff, and just kind of bring it down to where the trees are going to be. That building's probably not going to be there, because I do want to I want to show the building in the back. So I might do something smaller here. This one I'm going to leave, but I'm going to do something smaller here, or just fill it with trees as well there. But I'm just, I'm still kind of messing with that. The whole point is to cover the fact that the road goes into a tree or into the cathedral there. So trying to make it kind of disguised as much as possible. Okay, so going back to this. So basically what I did is I wanted the roads to look more like asphalt, right? That tar kind of look. So I went with the darker color. I did weather them slightly, by using a lighter coat of paint. But the way I did that is I used masking tape here and here, and then obviously there, and I just kind of covered this so that I can spray paint through there and not get it on the other stuff. But what ended up happening is some of the stuff peeled up. So I'm just going to go back and touch it up. That shouldn't be a big deal. But I like the way it's coming out so far. And, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it. I'm not going to do the road that goes over the tracks here. I might just make this a whole separate scene altogether. I wanted to make it look bigger than this, but like I was, told, and actually I did find some places where it's just a small project, right? The trucks come in, and then the trains come in, and everything's loaded in and out as fast as it arrives. So I think that's kind of like what I'm going to go for here. Not a big thing. So, and this way I don't have to buy more stuff. I don't have to buy more containers and trailers and things like that. So it'll be easier to budget for. So yeah, so that's basically it. This, these are the barriers that I had already weathered that I told you they were a little too heavy. I'm probably going to redo those as well. But, at least they're going to make this look a little bit better. And I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I am going to lift them using these styrene strips. I'm just going to put a styrene strip down, and it'll actually help me align them a little better. And it'll give it a little lift and a little bit more of like a, solid base. So that's the plan. All right, so that's basically it. I don't think I've done much more than that, but all that took a lot of work and a lot of time. Oh, what I have done is that I've cleaned up, in the process of cleaning up. So, before, I don't know if you remember me panning through the room, but this was covered in stuff. So I was able to kind of organize a little bit more here. I'm also organizing over here. So I pulled everything out, and I'm, just cleaning up and just kind of minimizing the amount of junk that I have down here and spare parts and things like that. So I've thrown out a lot of scrap wood and, stuff that I'm never going to use. And I also cleared out the staircase here. This was full of stuff down there too. So little by little, I'm cleaning, getting stuff out of here. This whole garbage. And the last part is I got to do this quadrant. This was the worst one. Right now I'm kind of working my way into this. But I want to try to get my little workstation underneath so that I could just, slide it out when I need to work on something, and then just, slide it back in for now until I put the fascia down and the skirt. Then I won't be needing that anymore for anything. So I'll probably just do everything upstairs. Just that we need the room upstairs now, so I brought all that stuff down. All this was upstairs in a closet. So anyways, what else? Oh yeah, I've been watching, I know this has nothing to do with my Intermodal project, but I've been watching this guy's channel, which, by the way, is amazing. You should check it out. Maria's Pass, Railfan 220, I think, is the YouTube channel. And he's doing some really, really good work. In fact, he was the one that inspired me originally to build this layout. When I first started the build, he had the same layout, but it was in a different location. So he basically just changed it up using the same benchwork and pretty much the same track plan. But man, does he do good work. He's very efficient. He's very clean. He's very young. And he does everything that I do, or I do everything that he does, but he does it better. So I highly recommend checking out his work. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to leave it here for part 5, and we'll see what happens at part 6. I'm a little bit busy right now. This week is a little bit crazy, so I'm going to try to get as much done as I can. But if I cannot, then it'll probably be 2 weeks before I post anything new. All right, guys, take care.